All right. All right. Hello, everybody. This is Elizabeth and Jeff Beaudre at Tipple's Brews and Wine in Gainesville, Florida. Welcome to this week's virtual wine tasting with the wine of the week. This week, I think we're drinking something. It's a really interesting wine. It's just a lot of fun and I think really delicious. I'm a huge fan. This week, we're drinking the Tenuta and delle Nere Etna Rosso red blend from Mount Etna in Sicily. So back down to Sicily, but a different area of Sicily than we drank last time. So if you have not already done so, please pop open your wine. I hope you did, because this guy could really use taking a breath. If it hasn't had a lot of time since it's been opened, swirl quite a bit while I'm talking to really aerate it. This guy needs a breath. It can be big. So I put a light chill on this guy. Brought it down to about 60 degrees with around 30 minutes in the refrigerator. There you go. Here's mine. I decanted ours as well this week. As you know, I don't always do. And if you would, as we get our initial impressions before I talk about what we're smelling and tasting, let's look at the first slide. We'll talk about food pairings. So this has a humbling 94-point rating from James Suckling. And for those of you that have been with us before, we know we don't hang our hat 100% on ratings, but it does give you an indicator. And you don't see a lot of 94 pointers out there, especially for under $30. So that's a pretty big deal. Italian food pairings, Italian meat sauce dishes, barbecue, venison, rich cheeses. I like this suggestion, squid ink pasta, and eggplant parmesan. So let's jump back and we'll talk about our initial thoughts on this wine, and then we'll get into why it tastes like this and where it came from. All right. First of all, I want to look at it, and it's got a beautiful garnet color, but you can see right through. Absolutely. So it has the look where you look at it and say, well, this could be Pinot Noir if you were blind tasting, right? Now, a lot of Italian wines you can't see through. Like when you head way up north to Piedmont, Barolos are intense, big wines, but you can see right through them. So that it has that in common. So you can see right through this guy. This is a red blend of indigenous grapes to Sicily. So these are Nerello Mascalese and Nerello Cappuccio. Or Cappuccio, likely, I guess. Yeah. Like I said, both indigenous. It doesn't ever tell me exactly what the blend percentage is, and I don't know if that's because it changes vintage to vintage. Okay. And we'll talk about the give and take on these two wines and why they would potentially do that. But usually it's 80% the Mascalese and 20% the Cappuccio. Alcohol content, 13.5%, so nothing beastly. We're not up in the 16 range like we were in Australia, but nothing thin either.
Yeah, I think 13.5 is the lowest we've gone, maybe 13.
On red?
Yeah, not white.
Yeah, I can see that on red. Yeah. Definitely on the, it's kind of on the modest side. I usually say reds start around 14. So yeah.
So if we hadn't decanted it, like what's the difference?
Well, this is a high acidity wine, so there's going to be a lot of tartness. Okay. It's going to express more. It's going to express floral qualities, spicy qualities, that kind of thing. And it would have less of that, and it might start out a little linear one note with tart cherry and strawberry. It might not give you a lot of other. Okay. But I'm already smelling a really nice peppery spiciness to this guy, as well as a floral quality.
I get the pepperiness a little bit on the back end too.
There I get kind of a combination there on the fruitiness. I would go black cherry, but also some dried strawberry.
And I'm still getting some tartness.
Oh, absolutely, and you will. This is
Okay.
an acidic wine,
Okay,
which is very, very normal for Italian styling of winemaking,
okay.
except for certain exceptions. Like I was going to say Amarone, but even a lot of Amarone, where they raisinate the grapes. Remember we talked about that in the past. Even a lot of that, they start with a very acidic grape so that you still have a freshness to
Okay.
it. Mhm.
But other than, I mean, it feels like a very light, kind of easy drinking wine.
It is a light-bodied wine,
Okay.
but as you sip on it,
Mhm.
you're getting a lot of grip, right?
Oh,
Getting
yeah,
a lot
absolutely.
of grip.
Mhm.
So it is light-bodied,
Mhm.
and it's got those flavors that remind you of Pinot Noir.
Mhm.
So the nose can remind you of Pinot Noir, and then that tannin is much more intense than you would ever get on a Pinot Noir.
Oh,
And that's
sure,
that
yeah,
kind of-
okay, that makes sense.
That's the kind of left turn that it makes.
Mhm.
So the Mascalese is provides the color and the tannins and the darker fruits.
Mhm.
The Cappuccio is a bit more Pinot-like, so a thinner skin. It's much higher acidity, so that provides the freshness and the red fruits rather than the darker fruits, and a lot of the spiciness.
So because the tannins is that you can have like rich cheeses.
Mhm.
Okay.
Like had we not given this a breath, and ours has had about an hour,
Mhm.
it starts out really grippy, where you almost have
Okay.
to pull your tongue off the roof of your mouth,
Okay.
and it can be a very, very grippy wine.
So is anybody experiencing that? Anybody not have it open for a while?
Sorry, experience what in particular?
So, he was saying we've had ours open for an hour, so we're not having it to where like it feels so tart that
And tannin.
and puckery.
Mhm.
Yeah, that your tongue feels like it's stuck to the roof of your mouth. But if everybody let it breathe, then
Right,
then they're not going to be getting.
We opened ours at like 7:55, but we do run it through an aerator. But I'm getting like that peppery Italian familiarity, but not like, whoa.
Good, yeah, because when it's fresh out, the first time I ever had this wine, I tasted it with a rep, and it was Coravin. So it was the equivalent of a fresh pop and an immediate pour. No aeration, and it was really, it almost just sealed my tongue to the roof of my mouth with how tannic and rough edged it was. But then as it relaxes, it's got so much more to offer, which I really like. Which reminds me much more of, here we are down in Sicily. It's behaving a lot like the Piedmont wines with Nebbiolo and which is a Barolo is, and that type of thing. So
I have to say too, Elizabeth, the face you made with the squid ink pasta, have you ever had it?
I haven't. Did I make a face?
Like a shocked face, not like a gross face, but like whoa. So that was literally the first dish when I went to Italy. Like we got off the plane and was like, you're on the plane for forever. And then it's like, just feed me anything. And I was like, I meant anything edible, like not this. It was so good. And I would say it was the closest thing to like what you would be familiar with from the Keys in South Florida, as far as like that salty seafood flavor, in a pasta. Like it was really, really good. And it would go, because it's salty, would go with that peppery of this really, really well.
Pretty briny then, like.
Yeah, not as, it's like, almost like an olive oily consistency. If anybody else here has had it, like pitch in, but it's the only time I've ever had it was the one time there, and it was delicious. Like, and I was like, are my teeth turning black? Are my teeth turning black?
Right.
And that's only in the movies. Like, stop being dramatic. I was like, okay.
I think Paramount downtown has squid ink pasta
yes,
too.
Paramount has squid ink pasta if you would like to try. It's very good.
Oh,
good. Have to go down there.
yeah, we'll have to try it. Now I'm intrigued.
And we'll bring the wine.
Because at first I was like,
Yeah, so like think of the consistency of like an olive oil pasta, except it's black.
Yeah.
But it's real salty, real rich, like that South Florida fish, like fresh, very good.
Okay, now I want to try some. Yeah, definitely. Do you want me to go to the next, or do you want to just keep drinking?
I'm really probably drinking a little too fast. So
Just like,
I probably
just
need
keep
to-
talking.
You guys keep asking questions. I'm gonna drink this wine. But Yeah, I really enjoy it. I love that combination of, you've got this very Pinot Noir like wine, but with so much more oomph to it, where you could take this and pair it with different dishes. You know, like I was saying, venison with the hunter sauce with this, with some mushrooms would
Yeah.
be amazing.
I do miss that. What was that restaurant?
That was the Sovereign.
The Sovereign, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they were good. Sugar
That's
It's
them.
really good. Do miss them.
Right.
That's been like
close
15
one.
years, 20
It
years.
has been
I
a
think it's
long
been
time
while
since
now.
they sold out. Okay,
Want me to share?
please.
Okay.
Let's talk about where this delightful guy comes from. Okay, so here are the grapes. They both look the same. All right. That, remember, I tend to say that a lot. I was like, I honestly, I have a picture. Maybe I'll put it into the next the next presentation, and it has a picture of it's a picture of about 8 different grape varietals. They all look the same. Yeah.
They all look like blueberries.
Right. They all look like this. This is what they look like.
Yeah, because they're so spherical compared
Right.
to like the grapes you just pop in your mouth.
Exactly. So let's go to the next slide. I think is where I want to cover this material.
So I just want to point out that like this leaf here that's so red and green, I think I normally see them just green. I don't
Right.
see them. That's really cool.
That's
I
because
like that.
you're getting close to harvest here, so
Okay.
they're about to go into fall.
Okay.
And,
Well, I guess you can see some of them have shriveled up.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
So the Nerello Mascalese is the workhorse of this. It provides the vast majority of the color, the dark fruit, the tannins, and the sugars.
Wow. Okay.
So the Nerello Cappuccio is, like I said before, what provides kind of that nuance, some of the zingy acid,
Okay.
and a little bit more, even more spice. Like the pepperiness comes from the Cappuccio.
Okay.
And see, the allspice is listed here, so you get, because there is an allspice baking spicy quality with the pepper, and they play together. I will also say the crushed gravel I could totally go for. There's a really nice minerality to this, though how could it not, considering where it is grown, which we will see. This is literally grown on the side of an active volcano. You want to talk about inhospitable environments? I think we hit our number one.
An active volcano. Wow.
Yep.
I mean, that's some chutzpah,
Right?
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because at any moment, it could be gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
So they talk about here, bone dry, absolutely. Medium to light body, absolutely. They call it medium tannin. I'd say it's medium plus for sure to me. Medium to high acidity, definitely I would call this one high acid red. And the ABV tends to top out right where we are.
Okay.
So there we go.
I'm glad you grabbed a 13 and a half, not an 11.
Killed you.
We'd all be disappointed.
Luckily, this is one I fell in love with. And thank you, Wine Folly, for all this wonderful information.
Yeah. Next one.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, so anatomy of the grape. So we have 2 grapes that look the same, except what is going on inside is so different, because the Mascalese is going to have the thicker skin and a much more robust dark area out here with all those dark fruit flavors. And then the Cappuccio has the thinner skin and a more intense acid center.
Okay.
So, growing. All right, so here we are down in Sicily, right here. So just a little south of the center of the growing latitudes of the world. So it makes sense that it would grow there. Let's take a look. Italian wine regions. The dark spots mean intense amounts of wine are grown there. So the Nero d'Avola that we drank, which I said was the ultimate barbecue wine. Remember that beautiful smoky guy? That was from here in Sicily. All right. And this time we're up on Mount Etna. Mount Etna is right there. You can kind of see the top, the topographical detail there.
Where it's white.
Let's take a little easier look. So we were down here in Vittoria, and now we're here on Etna. We're on the north side of Etna right here. Here's my theory on this, because they don't say it specifically, or I didn't find it in my research. I'm guessing this is where the lava comes out on this side, because you have grapes all around.
There's nothing on the other side.
Right.
Yeah.
So Mount Etna, these are literally recent pictures.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must be on the other side.
It's gotta be, right?
Mhm.
So the Mount Etna growing region in Sicily. The Mount Etna is currently the world's most active volcano. Yeah, so that comes from the BBC travel section, April of 2020. So I'm gonna guess it still is. So am I here?
So, but, okay, it's an active volcano.
Mhm.
It's got to be radiating heat, right? I mean, even if it's not on the side that,
Not much. I mean, once they're down over here, it
okay,
must not be.
I guess not.
It didn't, no one mentioned they've got nice toasty roots.
Right?
You know?
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like it would create a warm environment, but
Right.
maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe all that heat's just rising. and
I mean, it's a
going
warm
down.
area of the world anyway.
Yeah.
So Mount Etna is the most prestigious growing area in Sicily.
Oh.
So it's called the Burgundy of Sicily.
Hmm.
Not just because Burgundy is, Burgundy and Bordeaux certainly yell at you, but it's certainly
Yeah.
prestigious. It's for the prestige, but also because their wines have this Pinot Noir like, appearance and taste. And so because there are those similarities
Mhm.
with Pinot Noir, that's another reason that they call it that. Interestingly, so to me, this wine tastes like a combination of Pinot Noir and Nebbiolo. We'll drink a Nebbiolo soon.
Okay. I was like, I remember exactly what Nebbiolo
Right,
tastes
we'll
like.
drink a Nebbiolo. Nebbiolo is the grape in Barolo, which Barolo is a region up in Piedmont. Piedmont, we've had wine from there. It's in the northwest of
Okay.
Italy, as you go into the Alps.
Mhm.
So to me, this tastes like a combination of Nebbiolo and Pinot Noir. It's got some of the both because especially the tannin,
Mhm.
Nebbiolo can be super grippy, can be even grippier than this. So I think to me, it's like a combination of the two. So Piedmont is called the Burgundy of Italy. And that also brings up that interesting thing where, if you say Sicily's in Italy, some people
Right.
aren't crazy
Sicilians
about
will
that.
introduce themselves as Sicilians,
Not
not as Italians.
Italian,
Yeah.
right.
So do those two regions fight then? Piedmont and then what's the one in Sicily?
In Mount Etna,
Right.
within
So
Sicily.
do they fight about which one's better then? Because
No, not really. And I'll
Okay.
tell you why that probably wouldn't be the case. Is that Sicily is a much smaller producer. Sicily is
okay.
not as well known on the world stage.
Okay.
Barolo has established itself as one of the most prestigious wine growing areas
Okay.
in the world.
All right. So as such is probably distributed more and so more people have had it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And more people have discussed it. I mean, people are talking about Barolo. They'll come in and ask for Barolo when they know
Okay.
Italian wines. People don't come in really and ask for a Mount Etna. Though
Okay.
honestly, drinking this, which I think is a beautiful wine, it's got great character and it's just very what I'm looking for, elegant.
Oh, sure.
It's elegant and powerful and,
Mhm.
and complex. I think this is a fantastic glass of wine. And I love the price point for getting all of this complexity.
Well, to me too, it's such a light-bodied wine to have so much complexity. It's kind of surprising,
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
really got my attention.
Yeah. Mhm.
I won't say it shocked me, but it really caught my attention when I tasted this a week
Mhm.
ago. And I said, I want everyone to taste this wine.
Right.
This wine is surprising and wonderful. So here's some more Mount Etna pictures. So by the way, you can see the towns right down here. And they're watching this all happen. I mean, they're probably just used to it now. Like,
I
yeah,
guess so.
there's Mount Etna doing his thing. That'd be a little scary for me, but
Well, yeah, and we also are from a very, very flat place in the world. So, that would be shocking just to see like a landmass up like that
Right.
here. Yeah. Should I go to the next one?
yes. Let's see here. Provides a high altitude location. And the soil is, as you might guess, it's volcanic sand, basalt being, a volcanic rock, basalt pebbles and ash.
So the thing is, when I first look at that, I go, wow, it looks like it's a rich soil
Mhm.
because it's so dark, but it's because it's volcanic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good call. It's because it's ash and basalt, obsidian. It's these
Mhm.
black rocks.
Right. 'Cause
It is not rich. Yes.
yeah, because normally you would look at that, like if it was fertile and go, oh, don't grow grapes there, but
Right.
it's not.
It's
Yeah,
not.
it's just the color.
Absolutely. Yeah.
okay.
Good. And thanks for pointing that out. That's really good.
Well,
So-
because I mean, looking at it, it just looks like, maybe you should grow corn there or something,
Right.
but
Sure.
it's just deceiving because we're just not used to this is the first one that we've had that is close to an active volcano.
Right. Yeah. That's the thing is, we had the Obsidian Ridge where there
Right.
was volcanic activity.
Right.
So they have that obsidian. We've been to the Canary Islands.
Mhm.
The Canary Islands have some areas that have a lot of this black rocky soil that is not rich. But this is the only one that's next to an active volcano. So it's actively being replenished with ash.
Right. Okay, so would you go visit this? There's an active volcano right there.
In a heartbeat.
Okay.
I'd be right there. Tell me when it's blowing up. I want to be there.
Okay.
Large temperature swings because we're talking about high altitude.
Mhm.
We'll look at it. Well, you saw the volcano going way up there. I mean,
I did.
it's the top of a mountain. So in the growing season, they're around 95 degrees during the day, and it swings quickly down to 50 degrees at night, which that cooling will prevent the grapes from over ripening because they will slowly warm up during the day. So it prevents them from over ripening and becoming just too sugary and losing their acid. So that cooling is incredibly important.
I have to interrupt you a moment. I'm
Okay.
sorry, because I will forget. So I kept smelling this, thinking, it smells like lotion to me. Like I smell like lotion. And what I realized is it's the roses.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Because I kept thinking, why does it smell like, but it's like rose scented, not,
Mhm.
but I kept thinking it smelled like lotion.
Right. And that's a very common thing up in Piedmont. When we were drinking, we had the Barbera of like 3 weeks ago.
Mhm.
That's in Piedmont.
Mhm.
So in Piedmont, you've got Nebbiolo, Barbera, and Dolcetto. We had a Dolcetto about a year ago. So in each one of those, though, is characterized by roses, and
Okay.
you get a lot of rose quality to it. So that is one of those crossovers to that.
Yeah.
This reminds me of
Well, when I was
Nebbiolo.
growing up, my grandmother always used a lotion that was like rose petal something, and I can't remember what it was. That and white shoulders. She always wore white shoulders. But so I kept smelling it, thinking it sounds like Gigi's lotion, but that's what it is. It's roses. Yeah. So now you all know about my grandma. There we go. Next one.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, a lot of the vineyards are terraced,
That's very cool.
because of the angles of the hillside.
Yeah.
So isn't that really cool?
Mhm.
And some of these vineyards are terraced. Not all of them for Tenuta delle Terre are terraced, but they do have some.
It just makes me wonder because it's Sicily, like how long those stone walls have been there.
Oh, right.
You know? We're just gonna guess on that one,
I mean, yeah, well, easily 100+ years.
right? Okay. Next.
Yes. All right,
Oh,
so
look
here
at
we
the
are.
rainbow.
Tenuta delle Terre Nere. So that rolls right off.
Mhm.
Anyway, yeah, there's a rainbow over that. That is the place. Established 30 years ago, but at a place where they already had
Okay.
vines. So these are not 30-year-old,
That was not long ago at all.
right? So you could have good grapes at 30 from a place because it's around 15 to 20. You start getting some really, really good qualities to it. You can do it after 5. About 5 years is the best for getting started. But these are 50 to 140 years old. So they actually have, at the 140, it means that you have some areas that they own
Mhm.
that were not destroyed by phylloxera.
Okay.
So it's organic and sustainable. Let's go ahead and move forward.
Okay, since you mentioned phylloxera,
Mhm.
do you
Oh,
want
right.
to mention
All right,
like,
so-
what that was?
Good point. Phylloxera was the worldwide infestation of, people call it an infection, but really it's a root aphid. So it's a little bug that goes into the dirt and sucks a vine to death by the roots. It comes from the southeastern United States. So when the colonists began trading with the rest of the world, we spread this wonderful phylloxera over to Europe and around the world, frankly. And it almost killed all wine in existence, period. It was saved when a botanist in Texas developed grafting. I want to call it splinting every time. He developed plant grafting, which is used all the time in the citrus industry and stuff too now. So that ability to take the rootstock from a grape that is immune to phylloxera and graft it onto the top part would be the vintage vinifera grape that you want, whether it's Cabernet Sauvignon or any other one. So grafting saved wine in the world. They really thought they couldn't stop it. I mean, they're like, there will be no wine. The wine was almost destroyed, except for.
When was that?
That was, well, we're talking about 140 years being in this. It was developed in the early 1800s,
Okay.
if I remember correctly. God, it's been a little bit since I looked at it.
Okay.
I think it was early 1800s when he developed it. I got to look it up again. Probably have to memorize it at some point for my next level. So anyway, this winery, let's go ahead and go to the next one.
Okay.
Is, I mean, you can see it there. This is this winery, by the way. You see how high it is. They have different vineyards, but they range from about 1,800 feet above sea level going up to 2,700 feet above sea level.
Wow.
So way up on the
Mhm.
mountains there.
I mean, those look like pretty established vines too. Look
Yeah.
how thick they are.
Wait till you see the next one.
Okay.
I showed a picture of one of the old
Would you
vines.
like me to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead. So
Okay.
they've got about 56
Oh,
acres,
my
and here
God,
you
it
have
looks
one of
like a
those,
tree.
the old grandpa vine giving us this delightful character to their wines.
Oh.
So they hand tend the grapes, and like I said, it's all organic
Mhm.
and all sustainable as far as using solar and things for the
Wow.
winery itself.
So, I know when we were in California in November, we were talking about the whole push for Save the Old.
Mhm.
But I know that we've been to several wineries now. We're like, oh yeah, they have these old vines. So do they just automatically save the old and it's kind of a American thing where we're just
Where we're
like
pulling
chop it
them out.
down and yeah.
I think largely.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I think largely it's an American issue
Mhm.
with what happens, you have these big, obviously not all wine is made by small companies.
Right.
And heck, there's a wine that you enjoy very much, which we are going to be drinking next week.
Oh, you
Not-
told me it was back. The one that
Yes.
was back?
Yes,
Okay.
Julie will be very
That's a
happy.
little teaser for that.
So-
We'll talk about that later.
It's not a small company.
Okay.
They don't have to be small companies to make wine that we really enjoy, but some of those bigger companies are more interested in, volume than quality, and they try to
Mhm.
find the sweet spot where they can make just enough money with just enough quality and to make as much money as possible. Which
Sure.
I get it. It's their right to do that, but it does seem like a shame when you have someone digging up an 80-year-old vine that's just ready to give you a next level quality.
Yeah.
And just because it happens to be owned by kind of a mass producer, then they get ripped out.
Yeah.
So, but I think mostly that's a US thing.
a US thing, or at least, because I think the other one we mentioned was, I was gonna say Old World versus New World, but I think the other one was in South America, so.
Yeah, it's not just that. I mean,
Yeah.
I could see it easily happening in Argentina and Chile,
Mhm.
Australia in certain areas.
Mhm. That they would rip it out?
They
or
would
that
rip it
they would
out.
keep it? Okay.
Yeah. I
Okay.
see it much less in the old world areas,
Okay.
where they say, "Oh, I'm finally getting where we wanted to go."
Yeah. So I don't know if you mentioned this before, but like, look at how rocky.
Oh, yeah, there it
They're
is.
just like
Right.
sitting. on
Yeah,
top.
actually, I love that this gives an example of both. There's that old vine,
Mhm.
and you can see the soil. You
Mhm.
can see the rocks. It's just.
Yeah.
It's not giving it a lot, but it is giving it a lot of minerality, which once again, we're getting in that spice quality tonight. That's how it's expressing itself.
Next.
Let's jump out and have observations before next, because I believe we're going into the ratings next.
Okay.
So, all right, now that I've talked to, ad nauseum, maybe depending on your opinion of my presentation, any additional thoughts on what you guys are drinking and how much you like it?
Yeah, when I poured it out, like we we procrastinated and we forgot to open it to like 7:55. I was like, so I was pouring it. He's like trying to log in, and I was pouring it. And I was like, oh, this is going to be really light. Cause like the color as it was pouring out of the aerator was like so see-through. I'm sure there's a more technical term than see-through, but you know, I was like, yeah, it's going to be really light. And then we tried it and we were like, oh, it's so peppery and very flavorful. So it's not that heavy, like cab kind of heavy, but it's the flavor is still really strong.
Right.
So yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, the dry and pepperiness is what got me. I mean, I kind of prefer the sweeter of the wines, but I mean, I like this, but yeah, it's definitely got the peppery and dry cranberry type taste for me.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you're right. And that is it. This is a really dry wine.
Yeah. Sure.
It's got very little sugar left.
I like this one a lot. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it doesn't have that like at the end, like that, maybe that's the tannins. It doesn't have that like pucker face at the end. It's like not that dry.
Yeah, I feel like you definitely feel the tannins, but you're right. It doesn't make you go,
Right.
yeah.
At the end. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, I like this one a lot. We opened it at 7, and then I poured them into glasses around 7:45. Threw it in the fridge, and then to kind of chill it, and then just kind of like let these sit around. So by the time we had even started drinking it, the bottle had been open for an hour, and these glasses have been poured for 20 minutes. And so like it was not that grippy. It was just super drinkable from the word go. We made a bolognese tonight, so you know, meat sauce. It was, I think it's a great food wine. Like immediately I was just like, oh, this is nice. Paired it with this, and I was like, oh, this is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, this, you're right. Food elevates this to an entirely different level.
Yeah.
Like a smoky pairing.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely like that cherry and that like spice, that dried herbs and stuff like that. Like all that stuff really comes through and really shines in this. Yeah, I think it's great. It's funny when you mentioned Pinot, because that was my initial thought when I poured it.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, this looks like a Pinot, but it tastes, yeah, like way more like an Italian or maybe or getting onto Chianti range, but.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I think one thing that's fun to do with this one though is take a sip, leave it on your tongue, and just kind of move it back and forth across your tongue for 7 seconds, and feel how the tannins build on there. They are there, and if you're eating food, that's what's really going to keep it fresh and really allow it to work it over. Like the more you do it, yeah, you're like, no, those tannins are there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you just let that play on your palate for a minute. It's like, there's a lesson in tannins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's gripping.
Absolutely. Yeah. See, Robin did the same thing. Oh,
Yeah.
it's a little bit small.
Yeah.
We
Right,
just
no,
did it and we were like, oh yeah. And Amira would hate this. But I didn't get that until you just said it. Like if you don't hold it.
No, yeah, you got to let it play around your palate, and it'll keep grabbing and grabbing and grabbing. And that's the thing that really showed me what an amazing food wine.
Sure.
You know, like I say, a bolognese sauce or something would be awesome with it.
We're just gonna like start late one time and just crash at Chris and Robin's, because you know they've done something to pair
That's
with it. Like, hey, we're here this week.
That's right.
Be like a surprise thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be the surprise drop.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have like a camera in my head. Be like,
Yeah, be like Publishers Clearinghouse, but not as cool. Like, you know, we're not showing up with a check. Sorry.
yeah, we're just showing up in the mood.
Yeah,
We're here to eat your food.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's jump back, please.
Okay, well, does
No,
it wait?
anyone else have anything?
Anybody else? No. Okay,
Okay. I didn't see anybody jumping at it, but you're right. I shouldn't.
just in case
That's right.
we have some introverts that want to share.
Okay, so like I said on the way in, this guy, Monsieur James Suckling, decided it was an outstanding wine, and really on the edge of a classic.
Yeah.
Really good wine. Obviously, it can age, And so we could probably do even more. This guy, I would lay down for 10 years and then revisit it. I think it would be a lot of fun.
What years?
19.
Okay.
So we're on the young side of it.
Yeah.
Not that I think it presents poorly
Mhm.
at this age,
Oh,
but
no.
this wine has a lot more to express over
Okay.
the years.
Okay, tell why.
Oh, well, because of the big tannins,
Mhm.
big acid. So,
Well, never mind. I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay.
At the party.
all right. So yeah, because of the high tannins, high amount of acidity, this wine can age.
Okay.
And it's got a
So-
really nice amount of minerality effect
Mhm.
to this wine, which I think will express differently over time. And the fruit will change. As we
That's
go
what I was
through.
gonna ask you. So 10 years from now,
Mhm.
what's gonna be the difference?
Well, I can't say for sure, but it should, the acidity should mellow. So
Okay.
you're probably going to get more dark fruit out of it. And you're going to get smoother tannins.
Okay.
And they'll begin to relax as well.
So when you do that, let me swirl it back and forth over my tongue.
Mm.
It won't grip as much?
It won't grip as much. It'll feel a
Okay.
little more velvety.
Okay.
At that time. It will get a little lighter in color too.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Red's lightening, white's darkening.
That's right.
Mhm.
So now that we've done this, we'll jump and let everyone throw in their 2 cents. What are you guys thinking on ratings for this guy?
You go ahead and type in the chat box.
Yep.
92 from Chris and Robin.
Right? Okay.
We're just 92.
I said 89.
It's actually Robin and Chris in
Mhm.
the chat. Okay, 92, better with food.
Sure.
We've got 91 to 92,
Mhm. Nice.
90 and
90,
89. Okay.
So yeah, like I say, 90.
But now I want
94.
to try it with the squid ink pasta. I feel like with the squid ink pasta, I'd be like, this is perfect.
Yeah, I almost grabbed some
90.
cheese. I'm probably gonna do it after we're done. I meant to grab some cheese beforehand.
Mhm.
We changed locations where we were videoing and
We
I got
did.
distracted.
We changed locations. We were trying out this new location. We'll show you in the after party.
Consuelo says 90.
Okay, great.
So
I mean, I really like it, and I'm imagining it with food, so I would have done higher. I would have done like a 93.
nice.
Yeah,
Nice. Very nice.
even though this is not like my go-to,
Mhm.
it's California Cab.
Sure.
So, right. Which I say every time.
Or red one.
Or red blend. True. I do love red blends. So,
And I do.
Mhm.
I give this guy 92 myself.
Mhm.
You know, 92 easy. You know, an easy 92 because it's original, it's different, and really delicious, and very well made from that area. The food pairing would elevate it. I think where I'd be at
Mhm.
that 92, 93 level. I instantly just fell in love with this wine. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and wanted you guys to share it with me. And I thought there's some other areas in Italy we could hit. We've already done
Yeah.
Sicily once, but yes, we will get to Montepulciano. We'll get to Puglia. I know we spent a lot of time in Veneto and Piedmont, and I'm not sure how much Tuscany we've done. Man, that's
I don't
major. So we've got a lot of Italy to go explore. So
I mean, we're keeping this rolling, you know?
we'll get there.
People are vaccinated and everything's opening back up, but we're gonna keep the Tuesday virtual tastings, so.
Well, as
Mhm.
long as you guys keep coming, I'll keep presenting wine.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you guys are liking them. And I love that we're drinking wine together with people because often it's just me or me and Jake, you know,
Right.
and I'm like, okay, we're drinking this. This is so cool. If only I could talk to other people about it. Now I get to talk to other people.
I know.
about
It's
it, so.
only for someone other than Jim.
Oh, dear Lord, that is just my wish.
If only he would watch like just that part of it, it would be so much more
That's
fun.
good. Well, I'll show him. I'll put it on the story.
There you go.
All right, let's jump over to
the last?
the last screen.
Wait, any last comments before we move over? Or questions?
Hmm.
Okay.
I'm really glad you guys like this wine because this is definitely an unusual wine.
Yeah, no, I really like it. I liked it more than other people did.
Well, everyone likes it though.
Yeah.
All right, thank you to Wine Folly, Tenuta delle Terre, Nere, vineyards.com, BBC Travel, and winesearcher.com for the information and visuals presented here.
No.
And we're going back to Napa. All right, I know we've been doing a lot of Napa, but this wine has been out of stock, waiting for the new vintage for months.
Mhm.
And it is one of Elizabeth's favorites.
Yes. Yep.
For any of you that have friends out of town, this one will be easy to find, or should be. It's a big, wonderful Napa red blend that, like I say, actually the ratings, this vintage, I think are the highest ratings it's gotten.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
so
this is a new vintage from the one that I had.
that's right. This is a new
Okay.
vintage. I mean, it's gone from 90 to 91.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking about
Okay.
night and day here, but so excellent, consistent ratings for this wine. Whitehall Lane makes really nice stuff, and so if you guys will indulge us one more time, you're really going to like this wine.
This is one of my new favorite wines. I actually have had this one before. So, and then my principal got a promotion. She's a director now, and I sent her this wine because I love it so much. So, yeah. So if you like reds, come next week to that one.
That's right. Well, you guys followed me down to Mount Etna, and now we can just have a nice little welcome back hug. Like I say, my Napa hugs, which is an easy win. We'll go to Tre Leone next week. It's big and rich and wonderful, and we'll have a lot of fun talking about that.
Yeah.
All right.
Stop the share.
Yep. Stop the share. We will toast goodbye to the Etna Rosso, and we can start the after party. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you for coming, everyone.
All right. We'll see you again next week, I hope.